Alright, grade 8s. I'm going to try doing this a little bit differently because I should also not be going into work as often as I can. So I'm going to be trying this on my tablet instead of on the smartboard. So you'll hear a little bit less tapping. However, things probably won't look as neat as they previously have. So we're going to continue solving two-step equations, and we're going to look at it where the coefficient for x happens to be in the denominator of a fraction instead of multiplying x in front. Okay, so for the first one, if I've got q over 2 minus 1 is equal to negative 5, what I'm going to do to solve that is I'm going to start off with our models. So again, I'm going to split it into two parts, the left side of the equal sign and the right hand side. For my variable, because it's being divided by 2, I'm going to do this one as a circle. Okay, and remember, I'm just going to color in part of that circle like this and say that that portion is now half of q. Okay, so this part here is q over 2. And so I've got my q over 2. Also on the left hand side I've got a negative 1, so we show that by drawing a little square, not coloring it in. On the right hand side of the equal sign we're going to have 5 squares, and those guys are negative, so we're going to leave them blank. Okay, so what we need to do in this step is we need to remove our constant first from the left hand side. So since I have a negative 1, the opposite of a negative 1 is to add a positive 1. And remember, the positive ones are colored in. So I'm going to add the positive 1 on both sides. Okay, because what I do to the left I have to do to the right. Okay, that gives me some 0 pairs that I can cancel out here. These guys make a 0 pair, and then this positive 1 cancels with one of the negative ones to make a 0 pair. And so now what we're left with is we've got our q over 2, and on the right hand side we've got now 4 negative 1s. Okay, and so what our diagram is telling us now is that when half of our variable is colored in, it is equal to 4 negatives on the other side. So if I was to color in the second half, I would have to add another group of 4 negatives on the right hand side. And so what we have in total is we have our variable q, all colored in, is equal to those 8 ones on the other side that are negative. And again, sorry, I just can't be as neat because I'm on my tablet as opposed to doing this on the smartboard. Okay, so not so bad. Alright, I'm going to quickly do another one with a model. Okay, so we've got g over negative 3 plus 2 is equal to 6. So we'll draw this out. So on the left hand side I've got g over negative 3. So remember, I'm going to split that into 3 pieces, and I can color in one of those pieces, and I'm going to think of that one piece as being negative g over 3. Okay, from our last video we kind of talked about how it's the same thing as g over negative 3. We also have 2 positive 1s on the left hand side, so we'll draw those in. And then on the right hand side we've got 6 positive 1s. Okay, and we'll color all those in too. Alright, so we got to get rid of our constant first. The way we get rid of 2 positive 1s is we've got to do 2 negative 1s. So I'm going to do the same thing on the left and right hand side. Gives me some nice 0 pairs. And so I'm left with my g over negative 3 here, and I'm left with my 4 1s on the other side here. Okay, and then what's going to happen is I need to fill in my circle, and right now I got one part is colored in and it equals 4 1s on the other side. So when I color in another part, I need to get another grouping exactly the same as what I have on the other side. Okay, and then I color in again another portion, and I add in another group. It's exactly the same on the other side, although of course that one didn't highlight everything because that makes it more difficult for me. We'll draw in another one. All right, there we go. So what we have here is we've colored in the whole thing, but remember we were working with each section was a negative g over 3. So now that the whole thing is colored in, that's great, except for it means that I now have a negative g. Okay, so I've got negative g is equal to my positive 12. Okay, and that's a problem because I don't want negative g, I want positive g. So I got negative g is equal to positive 12. So I have to flip everything and write it as positive g is equal to negative 12. Okay, I just do the opposite sign on both sides. Okay, all right, so if you can do the modeling, that's great, but you probably don't want to keep modeling forever, especially as our numbers get bigger like this. I don't really feel like drawing that many of them, even though it's not so bad when I can just copy and paste them. Okay, so here I've got j over negative 5 plus 17 is equal to negative 23. So I'm going to start off again by getting rid of the constant. So the opposite of adding 17 is subtracting 17, and I'm going to do the same thing on both sides. That gives me some nice 0 pairs here, and then if I have negative 23 and I subtract 17 more, I'm at negative 40. On the left hand side we just have j over negative 5. So that says j divided by negative 5, and the opposite of dividing by negative 5 is to multiply both sides by negative 5. Okay, these guys here cancel one another out, and we're left with just j is equal to, on the other side, negative times negative is positive, and 40 times 5 gives me 200. Okay, now we should double check by verifying that we actually have the right answer. Okay, so we're going to set up our chart where we've got the left side of the equal sign and the right side of the equal sign. The right hand side of the equal sign was simple. That's just negative 23. I'm going to put that in right now. But originally on the left we started with j over negative 5 plus 17. Okay, so we said that j should be positive 200. So I'm going to put that in, positive 200. And positive 200 divided by negative 5 plus 17. Well, I have to do my division first before I can do my adding because of order of operations. 200 divided by 5 gives me negative 40. Negative 40 plus 17 is negative 23. And we have the same thing on both sides of the equal sign. So our missing number was j. Alright guys, that's solving two-step equations. Next week we're going to start looking at using distributive property. If you want to take a look at the grade 9 video, you can, but no need to get to anything until next week. Alright, bye.